Hi, welcome to another episode. So it's that time of year again. It's pruning season, which is great because it means you get to correct all the problems that you're starting to notice on your trees and shrubs over the course of the growing season. For me, that's always been a white currant. I bought it weird, wonky, and honestly kind of weird growing, and today I just want to correct it and make sure it just grows a little bit nicer. And you can really do this with anything, just really heavy selective pruning. That's what I'm going to do with my white currants. You can also do that very easily with things that bounce back real quickly, like this fig over here. It's loaded in fruit that's never going to ripen because it is way too cold and too dark for them to ripen. So they're just going to sit there and rot, I guess. But it is one that you could really chop down to nothing and it'll bounce back very quickly. So let's start with the Jostaberry. Prune that first because you'll see why it's leaning very heavily into the white currant, which actually didn't help it at all this last growing season. It just made it even worse. So yeah, let's start with that and then we'll get to the white currant. Right, so here you can see my currant mess, no pun intended. This is my Jostaberry, and you can see that it completely draped over into this red currant here. This is a white currant. That's the one that I really want to just start all over on. But I'm going to first prune back this Jostaberry quite a bit because all this left side is just way too dominant. But if you go back, you can see that there's a side branch here, there's a nice side branch here, another one up here. So I feel like if I take this whole part off, then this will be my new vertical leader, which goes up really far. I might actually tie it to the other side to kind of bring it in a little bit, but that might be something I'll do later. But really what I want to do is just prune it back down to this sideways branch for now. Ideally, this vertical branch in the back here would have been at the top, but that's fine. I might end up pruning it down to that in the future if this side branches nicely. Alternatively, I'm also going to prune this one back. I thought this was going to take over as the new leader and it was going to be nice and upright and really be like a vertical leader, but instead I'm just going to prune it off. It didn't end up doing that, and I have this branch here that could take over as the vertical leader anyways, so I don't really need it anymore. So the first thing I'll do, you can see Sasha back there sitting in front of the window. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is just take this one down to this side branch here, which will be plenty. Okay, do it at an angle there, just like so. I'm also going to prune this one. It's just kind of crossing into the branches here, and I have a branch that's growing up over here, which I prefer more, so I'm just going to prune that off as well. And then finally, this will be the big cut, just right here. I'm going to do it at an angle, leave a little bit of a stub, and snap, just like that. That's better already. I'm going to make another cut actually. As you can see here, this is still that Jostaberry, and it's still well into the space of the red currant and the white currant. So I'm going to prune it back down to this branch here, and hopefully I get some more back budding in here somewhere. All I know is that I have to take it back a little bit further. So I'm going to go in there and prune that whole section off as well. Just like that. I actually just realized that I don't even need this whole section at all, because I have this branch here and then this branch on the side here, which is plenty. And honestly, this branch is still kind of growing wonky. I don't really need a leader to be over here because I have this larger one in the back. So I'm just gonna take it off, keep it more simple, leave a bit of a stub, just like that. That is plenty. That'll do for next year. Alright, so here's that white currant. You know, I was just gonna restart it from a cutting because they do root very easily. Like right here, I have that weird kink, but it's actually a pretty decent branch. This happened due to the Jostaberry leaning on top of it and just pushing it down and not being able to see it all
growing season long. But I actually have a fairly decent upright vertical leader. So what I'm going to do is essentially just remove all that side growth plus the side branch here and just leave this one here, straighten it out a little bit more, and then see how that goes. So the first cut I'm going to make is going to be right down here, down below here. Take a little side branch off. Next, I am going to come in from the side, that whole side branch off, like so. And now, all I want to do, this is the upright position right here. So I'm going to make sure that there's some wood to support it, to hold it like this. Alright, so I'm just going to take some of these logs that are right below it. I'm just going to wedge it into a spot that I like. Maybe something like this. And then that way, it'll kind of stay like this as it grows in the next growing season. Last but surely not least is this red currant over here. This is definitely one that it's going to need a little bit of correcting. I've got a lot of branches growing in weird places like this. Just going to prune that off like so. I've got another one. It's kind of growing across here. Just going to prune that off as well. I've got a branch right here that's, I think, dead. So that's going to go away. See, this branch here is kinked. I've got this branch here too. Just going to remove that as well, like so. And you can see how this branch here is really flopping down. It got pushed back really bad. It's not doing very good. It's not growing in a great spot. I honestly just want that branch to be gone. The question is, do I want to prune it off entirely, or do I want to leave some of it? And the truth is, I don't really need it, because I have this branch that's right below it that is growing in a good spot. But it could kind of fill out this whole area back here. So I'll think I'll just prune it down to this branch here, like so. If this turns out to be, oh, you know what? It got bitten away probably by the currant larva. There's a pest that burrows into currant branches, or it could just be broken. But anyway, that's not going to last. So I'm going to have to prune back from here. And thankfully there is a bud back here. So I'm just going to prune it back here and see what happens. And yeah, see if that recovers. Or what it's going to do. The branch beside it is kind of weird as well. This is where the light comes from. So this is where all of them want to go to. So for now, I'm just going to prune it back to here. And see what happens. Back up against the house here, I have a branch that's leaning up against the house very heavily, but I have this branch right here that kind of comes out towards the middle, which is not great, but since it's the leader, I'm kind of hoping it'll go up and then curve up and become like the main leader for this branch. If it doesn't, then I'll just prune it back to whatever does become the main leader. But for now, I can prune that section off to this branch here. And then we'll just have to wait and see what it does next year. That's everything that I pruned off the Jostaberry. That's the white currant there. And then the red currant. The red currant is still fairly full. I may end up pruning it down a little bit more as I go along, kind of thinning it out. Although all the branches that I'm left with are growing in their own little spots. And that's really my biggest concern. This is east facing here, coming this way. So this is where all the light comes from. That's why you see all these branches growing like this. So what I'll probably end up doing is rotating it and then putting that white currant in the corner here so that they're not shading each other out so much, or at least the white currant is not getting shaded out. And yeah, see how it goes from there next year. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Tot de volgende keer. Sasha. She's a cute little kitty. Her allergies are bothering her. She's having droopy eye. Right, Jojo? Hey. Oh. You're cute. She agrees.